If you're not excited to paint something, just don't paint it. What is the point of working for myself if I'm not happiest, if I'm not working towards my best life? Get painting, because I have a lot to paint before the end of the day tomorrow. Hello everyone, welcome back to my courtyard. I feel like I should rename my channel to The Courtyard, or maybe The Blue Door Art. Okay, we're off to a good start, I see. Today I am sharing a long overdue art vlog. There's a lot of reasons I haven't shared an art vlog in over a year, many of which are related to my mental health and projects, and there's a lot. So this video is going to take you through the last week of my life. I'm working on so many big overlapping projects right now, and I thought it would be kind of good to use this as a way to test myself and my ability to do an art vlog again. My goal was to record every single day for a full week and kind of share that authentic day in my life or week in my life kind of video that I like watching myself. Oddly enough, it makes me feel productive by association. Like you're watching someone else be productive while you work, and it's like some weird thing that happens. My biggest hope for this video is that it feels like a creative hug and you feel inspired and motivated to work on your own projects. But I have to admit, I am a little nervous to share a vlog because vlogging is much more vulnerable than doing like a product video or a tutorial or a painting video. And yeah, it's my life. So bear with me. I'll meet you back here at the end of the video for a little Q&A. I have tons of questions I've collected over on Instagram from many of you about business, life, balancing work life, income, all of those things. And I'm gonna chat with you here at the end of the video. So enjoy.
I saw the light go down Baker Street. Don't know exactly where she wants to meet. The last cigarette, broken phone. The rain's gonna be really soon.
Can't decide if I want to bring my push-out box. It's, just do it. Who cares? Water bottle. Money. Umbrella. Headphones. Hat. Clouds are looking a little threatening. So I'm really glad I have my mini umbrella. Just in case. All right, let's go find a bench till everyone gets here. I recently realized that one of the greatest parts about doing our monthly plein air painting group meetups is that it really gets me exploring a bit more. It's so easy to get stuck going to the same places over and over again, and especially if they're a little bit closer to home. But every single time we meet up and go somewhere I haven't been in a while, I get so insanely inspired, and I fill my inspiration cup to the brim, and I come away with so many good references that I can paint from in the future. home now and absolutely knackered. I cannot believe the way that wind, that crazy storm just hit us so fast. And I am feeling like a fool for how heavy this bag is. I need to weigh it. Got some leftover chips for Wolfie. Look at my roses. Look how tall they are. Water everywhere. Hello, my beautiful angel. Yeah. Was he sleeping on the chair? Did you make bread?
Good on you.
Smells so good in here. Okay, we are going to weigh this bag. I don't know why. It's like morbid curiosity about how much I tortured myself today. Just wanted to have everything just in case because Findhorn has so much to offer. Ready? Let's go. Okay. I'm trying to lift it till it says it's done. 12 pounds. And that is 5.4-ish kilograms. It's not insane, but it was enough to very much strain my back. And it's also just a reminder, a lesson that you don't need to take the kitchen sink. I only used a tiny watercolor kit and a sketchbook and like one brush and a pen. I'm usually pretty good about avoiding that. I decide what I'm bringing and what I'm going to use before I get to a spot. But today, I think I was just not in the right headspace to paint today outside. My back hurting, I'm tired, I'm nauseous, I'm hungry, I'm hot, I'm getting blasted in the face with wind and I feel sunburned. It just makes it harder to focus. So I feel very chaotic, and unfortunately I planned on doing some painting tonight and now I'm not even close to being in that headspace. I think instead I should work on my computer for a little bit and drink lots of water and do some blog maintenance because that's falling way behind. There's probably a million things I could be doing, but I think that's probably my best plan of action when I'm in this frazzled state. Sometimes when I'm out here in the morning, I can trick myself into feeling like I'm camping or like away on vacation. Like no screens, no internet, nothing. Just the sun and the wind. Getting out of your tent, having coffee, and just watching nature. I just spent some time hanging out with Wolfie and Akira, trying to tire Akira out so he's not so crazy while I'm trying to work. And as you can see, it is a mess in here. It only took a few days after the last time I cleaned it. So I'm gonna have my protein smoothie, clean up in here, try to get into a creative mindset, maybe listen to some music or something, and get painting because I have a lot to paint before the end of the day tomorrow. I took a break, went outside, played with Akira, had a little snack, and came back with fresh eyes and actually like it. I know everyone says it and it's so cliche, but we really are our own worst critics. No one is more cruel or harsh to me, to my art, than myself. But obviously, if you're aware of it, you can work on changing that mindset, and you gotta, sometimes all it takes is just stepping away for a little bit. Oh gosh. The best advice I have about running, don't remember where I heard it. It's probably just generic basic advice everyone gets, but forward is a pace. Even if I'm going at a snail's pace, I'm going forward. Going under the bridge. I always get a little freaked out under bridges. I usually run because I don't know why I think, oh my God, the bridge is gonna collapse while I'm under it. Anyways, time to head home. The last thing I need to do today is to take a little video of my recent sketchbook pages. I always like to share what I'm working on in my sketchbooks with my Patreons. Since I'm gonna film it on my phone, so I need to change. Hello everyone, welcome to a new sketchbook video. So I'm going to start with my little paper sketchbooks, the pens, different nibs, doing some of my July daily sketches, which I mostly kept. This was the only master study I did, art and everything that's going to happen in the boxes for 9, 10, 11, and 12. A meetup with my Plein group, and I was okay, I'm starving. Let's go grill. Time to grill. Okay, so we just got back from a couple errands, and now I have to totally switch gears because I have some homework for my accountant. I am currently taking inventory of basically all of my business supplies, my art supplies, anything related to my business. So Wolfie can do most of it, but he also doesn't know a lot of my supplies. So he doesn't know the difference between a lot of my papers and fountain pens and things like that. So I have this big spreadsheet I'm working on and have to help count certain things. And currently I'm on paper and I'm realizing I have way too much paper and sketchbooks. He almost had a heart attack when he saw how many pens and markers and things like that that I have. But I've collected it all over like 7-8 years, and you know, I've basically created my own little art store in my office. I use every little piece now and then. So I have to crack on with this. I probably need to finish this in the next 2 hours so that I can get back to the artwork and then get all of that sent off. Let's get on with it. I've been transferring footage from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to my laptop, and it has taken about 2 hours. I'm tired. God, is cat hair a pattern? Is that like an acceptable pattern on a shirt? Cat owners understand. Today is Thursday, and I have one more box cover design to do, but I have until like this weekend basically. Today I'm actually doing a half day because we are going to Inverness later to see the Wolverine and Deadpool movie with our two friends, and it's going to be a few hours away, so I'm just like, take half the day off. So I'm just working until like 2 or 3. And then tomorrow I am going to be working all day, but then in the evening I'm going to an art exhibition opening. It's kind of like just a fun excuse to get a little bit dressed up and go see some art and hang out with other artists. And then I'm working probably Saturday and Sunday, which is another reason why I don't mind taking a half day today. This is something I do all the time. If I know I'm going to be working on a weekend, and the only reason I'm working this weekend is because Wolfie is going away on a boys camping trip, and I'm gonna be here on my own without a car. So I was like, I'll just edit my video and work on the weekend. If I know I'm going to be working on a weekend, I'll take a day or two off during the week, so I kind of like sort of balance it out. But the funny thing is, when I say I'm taking a day off, I fill it with other creative things. Like I do embroidery, I write, I do so many other things that are still pretty like creatively intense. So I never feel like I have a day off. But the one good thing is I will also spend more just downtime hanging out, playing with the kitties, going for walks, or just doing everything at like a very slow pace, which is wonderful. Instead of feeling like, oh, I got to get this deadline, oh, I got to do this, I have to work on the computer for 5 hours, that's what's really draining. At some point today or tomorrow, I also need to record my Patreon newsletter and upload that. So there's like a few things I need to juggle, but it's like the schedule is completely changeable. And I love that because I can fit things in based on my mood or like what level of creativity I feel. Like if I'm in a very creative mood, I'll choose the painting stuff. If I'm in a kind of admin mood, if that's even a thing, I can do emails and the newsletter thing and other computer stuff. That might be a theme you've noticed this week, is that I rarely have time just to paint for myself when I have a lot of other projects going on. So there's some weeks, even like 2 or 3 weeks can go by and I will barely paint for myself. Tutorials take up a lot of my time. I post 2 tutorials a month on Patreon. Plus, I post at least one thing every week, whether it's a video or not. So it's just like every week a lot of time is devoted to that. Plus, obviously, I do a YouTube video each week, and sometimes that's kind of tutorial based or product based or something. What I really love is when I can combine my like work for YouTube with something I love, like going outside and painting, recording that, and then that's my video. So it kind of covers both bases, if you know what I mean. After like a week or 2 of not doing it, I really deeply need to paint just for myself without any cameras, without anything. Sometimes that's challenging. And it's a lot of it is like I have to really force that into my schedule. I have to maybe push other things aside, or maybe I have to do work at night so that I can go outside during the daylight and paint just for myself. It's like a good problem to have, obviously, because I love what I do for a living, but I just wanted to share that challenge because if you're a self-employed artist, that is just the reality of the situation. Enough rambling. I am going to jump into some sketching. I'm going to do the concept for box number 12, which is a mossy forest. So something I love painting. Let's tidy up a little and then get into that. For those of you who don't know, whenever I'm referring to my gouache subscription boxes, I'm talking about these. I partnered with Craftomo, a company who makes all of my gouache brushes that I've talked about and used over the last couple of years. So each month you get a box in the mail. Each one has a different theme, like mountains, waves, sand dunes, coasts, forests, so many different things I love painting. And inside each one you get the large print of the art we're going to be doing. You get a couple brushes and all of the paint that you need and a full-length tutorial. And when I say full-length, I mean it's like step-by-step what we do from sketch all the way to finished piece, and I talk about color mixing and everything that we need for that particular scene. And this project only just launched last year, at the end of last year. It's a little bit confusing in terms of timing because when we launched the project last year, it was a pre-order system. So the first batch that went out, people pre-ordered and then they received them. And I've been making the tutorials as we go. So month by month, I make the upcoming box tutorial. Basically, I try to finish the tutorial like 2 or 3 weeks before the box ships. And the reason for that is as we go throughout the months, I can get feedback from people. And if someone is like, hey, I really wish you would focus a little bit more on this one particular thing, I can incorporate that. So it makes it a little bit more, I think, more valuable, I guess. The great thing about finishing this will be that after, all the designs are made, all of the tutorials are made for the first 12 months, I'm done. So unless we do this project again, I have a little bit of time after that to do my own stuff. But it's just been a very time-consuming project over the last year. And I mean, I've been loving it and I've been loving seeing what everybody is creating. It's just intense and very time-consuming. So after the last box is done, after the tutorial is done, it's going to be just like this sense of relief. And I can focus all of those hours and all of that attention into another project because I'm very project based. I think timing wise, the completion of this project is going to align with the end of this year. So that's really great because it feels wonderful to be able to start a fresh new project in a new year. Okay, anyway, that's everything about the boxes. Hopefully that gets you up to speed and things are a little bit more understandable now. And let's get to sketching. Cheers. I got majorly sidetracked for a while. I had to answer a bunch of questions from the accountant. So the little time I had devoted to trying to be creative today is away. Just the weather. The second it gets like misty and cloudy, I lose so much energy. Well, actually, I only have like an hour until I have to leave. Or no, 30 minutes until we have to leave for Inverness. So I don't know what I'm going to be able to finish in that amount of time. I did get far on the sketches for the box number 12, and I'm so excited about that. It's mossy forests are just my favorite thing. I think I'm just going to sign off for today, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
What I was going to say to you, Sarah, it's difficult talking.
Okay, just got back from the exhibition. It was so nice, actually really packed. So many people were there. I got a few postcards. This one is of the Standing Stones of Callanish. I love that. This one is of Cullen. It's by an artist named Jill Mackenzie. I really loved her art. Really beautiful and interesting and mixed media. So I got this pillow by her and I just love it. I love the blues and greens and I definitely think it fits in. Okay. My eyes are starting to go cross. I've been painting for about an hour solid and it's time for a little break just so I can rest my eyes, come back with a fresh perspective. I'm almost done with it. It's like kind of the last 10%, but all those little final details really make a difference. There's a little butter in it. This is for yours?
Yeah.
It's my first time making sugar syrup because we didn't have any syrup. So I melted brown sugar, a little butter, and a little water. Let's see. It's like more mild. What do you rate my waffles out of 10?
11.
Oh, is that because you're being filmed?
Yep.
What do you actually rate them? Out of the best waffles you've ever tried?
10.
It's because you haven't tried many waffles.
Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
strategic question. Waffles. I almost said I love waffles.
I love waffles.
I'm having... Well, it is Monday. It's been a week since I started filming every day. So I did it. I completed my challenge. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. You'd think that just, picking up the camera, setting it down, and pressing record when you're doing stuff would be easy, but it is so difficult to remind myself to do it, and also to make good, create good angles so it's not just all the same. It's just like a lot of extra stuff to think about. So if you watch any vloggers who vlog every week and share a video every week, please give them as much support as possible because it is very challenging. We had a really strong rain last night, so everything is soaked. So I can't really come out here with my coffee and sit. I hope you've been enjoying the video so far. Give it a thumbs up if you are. If you haven't been enjoying it, why are you still here? Wow, look at the sweet peas. Hello again, it's me in the courtyard. Oh my gosh. All right, so we're gonna end this video with a little Q&A. I think this is a fun way to end a vlog. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy it? I hope so. I have all your questions pulled up on my phone from Instagram, and we're just gonna dive right in and go one by one. I think there's 9 or 10. Do you have a painting which you wanted to paint for a long time but put off for some reason? So many. I think the first one that comes to mind is the Grand Canyon, but I've never been there in person, and I would want to paint it after I've seen it in person. Advice for hating drawing, sketching, painting the same subject over and over. It gets boring. Typically, when I paint the same scene over and over, there's a reason for it. I'm exploring different color options, I'm exploring different compositions, and the reason I would paint something in the first place is that I'm excited about it. So it gets me even more excited to try all these different options and make it the best possible version I can. If you're not excited to paint something, just don't paint it. Any recommendation for flat travel brushes? I have a Pro Art flat travel brush, but I think it's the only one I've seen, at least of its size. But I am working with Craft Amo, the same people I worked with to make my gouache brush set. We're working on a travel brush set, and it's very early days, so I'll let you know as that develops. How do you manage personal and professional life? Please give a few tips. I guess I kind of showed that in this video. I know that not everyone works for themselves, works from home, but if you do, what I suggest is to organize your day in chunks. So a couple hours of work, a little bit of a break, a couple hours of work, then take a break. And I try to change my perspective when I take a break, like go outside is my biggest thing. Maybe do 1 or 2 errands and then come back. But it definitely takes practice and discipline to get back into the creative mode after doing a break or a work mode, like an admin mode. And I'm not great at it. I struggle with it all the time. But definitely nature to me is like, I call it my palate cleanser. I come outside, I come out here in the courtyard or hang out with my kitties. And that really gives me a chance to breathe and refresh and just come back to myself. And then when I get back into the office or wherever I'm working, I just have a refreshed mindset. I definitely think it's important to make time, not just find time, but actually make time in your schedule to hang out with your loved ones, because it's really easy to push that aside when you're in the middle of a really intense project. Luckily, Wolfie and I both work from home. He works with me in my business, and we can easily kind of hang out in between doing things, or at night is obviously our main time to hang out. And I don't think there is one perfect answer to that question. We each have to find our own way and really prioritize what's most important to us. How were you brave enough to quit the corporate world and work as an artist with all the unknowns? I was very desperate for a change at that time in my life. I was extremely overwhelmed with my full-time job. I mean, I would wake up every day with this like pit in my stomach, and then, I would go home on a Friday night already dreading Monday morning. It was like I knew I needed a change, and at that time I was getting into photography, and I followed a few wedding photographers who were working for themselves, doing the thing, and I just saw this opportunity of freedom in that. Obviously, you can get just as burnt out in a creative field or working for yourself, but it was that idea that I would be working towards my own dream instead of working for someone, a company, towards their dream. And I think I just got this bug in my brain, like I had to work for myself. So I saved up as much as I could. I practiced my photography on nights and weekends. I basically was doing 2 full-time jobs for a long time until I felt like I had enough clients and financial independence. And I was also streaming on Twitch at that time, so I was kind of getting into art as well. So all of those things built up to give me just enough confidence and I guess desire or desperation to quit my full-time job. And it was the best day of my life. Even though I actually really did love the company I worked for, it was the beginning of my life, it felt like. And I am so thankful that I took that risk, because obviously it is absolutely terrifying. But at that time, I not only was streaming on Twitch, but I was also scheduling weddings a year in advance. So I already knew the following summer I had X amount of weddings, which was X amount of income. And that was a pretty big relief. Or yeah, it just felt like, okay, maybe I can make this happen. And then once you quit a job, you have all the hours you devoted to that job to devote to yourself, to your own business. And so you just switch one for the other almost. I mean, I ended up working way more hours for myself than I ever worked for a company. But it was towards my own dream, which made the biggest difference. Definitely don't quit your job until you have enough finances to cover yourself for at least 6 months, if not a year, just in case you don't make any money as an independent creator. What would your process be for adopting a technique from a master study into your own style? That's tricky, because you don't want to just copy their style and then like do that style forever. Rather than thinking about their style, what I'm doing when I do a master study is focusing on how they used color and color relationships, and also not necessarily the brush strokes they used, but the variety of textures they created. So it's like looking at it more technically rather than stylistically. And I choose a painting to do a master study of because I absolutely love it. And there's something about it that I'm trying to discover. And most often it's color. As a follow-up to that, what is copying and what is adopting a style into your toolbox? Adopting something into your toolbox becomes your style or your way of working. There's a huge difference, because if you copy someone's style, your work is gonna look like their work, and it's gonna be obvious. It's gonna be, I mean, why would you want to do that? You're just going to be a replica of someone else. I think it's much more important to try to learn specific techniques and use of color so that you can apply it to your own work and your own ideas. And it should unfold naturally because our style is just a result of a way that we enjoy working. So if I enjoy using lots of dry brush textures because I just love how it looks, that naturally becomes part of my style. If I enjoy really dramatic, maybe fantasy-like colors, that is definitely going to play a part in how my style looks. And all of these little choices combine to what becomes our style. And obviously, if you are copying, for instance, if you copy my paintings exactly, it's going to look like my paintings. And then you're not really sharing yourself with the world, which I think is the point. Try not to get too bogged down in style. Just do what you love doing in a way that you enjoy doing it. And the rest will follow. How many hours do you spend on your work and developing your skills per week? That's really hard to answer because I do a lot of tutorials. And obviously, as you saw in this video, I'm working on different projects. And while I'm doing those things, I am technically practicing. So a lot of hours, I guess. But when I have weeks where I'm working a little bit more on my own thing, like going outside and painting plein air, that's obviously where I feel like I'm practicing the most and making progress. But really, it all adds up, no matter what it is. What's your favorite 6-color limited palette watercolor or gouache? That changes so often. I've done videos about it, I've done blog posts about it, but honestly, it changes like every month. It's definitely something more along the lines of like CMYK plus 1 or 2 earthy tones. Something like lemon yellow, helio turquoise, quinacridone magenta, burnt umber, maybe cobalt turquoise light or similar, and then kind of an orangey yellow might be the most useful for me, or a black. If I'm talking about watercolors though, there's way more granulating colors in there. I am just obsessed with granulating colors lately, so maybe we should do a video about that. How do you do things with fear when a step of your art journey feels scary? Almost every day feels a little scary in some way, or anytime I need to make a decision about the future of my company, I am terrified. And I am going through that right now. And I feel like I could have talked about that for an hour in this video. I mentioned it a little bit at the beginning. I shared recently with my patrons that over the past year, I've been really struggling. I've gone through so many ups and downs, and depression and so many anxiety attacks, and not related to my art business as much, just navigating the loss of Vader, navigating big changes happening in my life and in business. All of it combines. And when I have to make a decision about, where I want to take my Patreon, what do I want to do, what do I want to focus on my YouTube channel, these could have massive impacts on my future income and lifestyle. And it's just like, yeah, it is terrifying. But what helps me the most, I think, is sharing and getting feedback from my audience, my community. So especially on Patreon, because that's my biggest income source. It's my biggest community. YouTube is bigger technically, but I feel like it's less of a one-on-one connection. Whereas in Patreon, we chat all the time on my Patreon chat and in Discord. Anyway, it just helps me to bounce ideas off of them, or at least share what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. So I guess what I'm trying to say is what helps me when my art journey feels scary is connection. It's reaching out to someone, it's bouncing ideas off of people, because otherwise I can drown in that fear and in that loneliness and in that constant questioning of myself. Like, for instance, an idea that I'm toying with is changing my YouTube schedule, changing my YouTube content, and obviously that will have massive impacts. And like, it's risky in a lot of ways. But if I know in my core that those changes would make me happier, I have to do it. Because what is the point of working for myself if I'm not happiest, if I'm not working towards my best life? So that is something I'm always weighing when I make these decisions. And I am so incredibly grateful for my community here and on Patreon, because the amount of truly actual friendships and support that we have. It's obviously a lot of like the parasocial relationship is at play here, but I also feel like I know a lot of you and a lot of my patrons because we've been chatting for so many years and through comments or through Discord, and it's just as valuable as an in-person relationship. And I think without that, it would be utterly pointless to do all of this. So, wow, I don't know. Did I answer the question? Fear can be very paralyzing, and my only way of getting through it or out over it is to talk through what is making me afraid, because I think in a way it like takes away some of its power. So much of it is like you're in your own head, the voices are going and telling you you're not good enough, telling you you're making a mistake, whatever it is, telling you you can't do something. And as soon as you start verbalizing it and the person you're talking to is asking you why you feel that way, you know, it's as you say it out loud, you might even realize that's so silly. Of course I can do that thing. Of course I'm capable of it. Like, so I guess it is just talking through it. I think that's about enough for this video. So thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to speaking to you in the comments and also over on Discord. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description this time. I know I keep forgetting. And yeah, thanks, and I'll see you again in another video. Take care, everyone.